Hello and welcome to Cafe Barbara in Cobham, Stoke-Davenant. And yes, the international break is over at last, and we're back here for our usual post press conference with Enzo Maresca talk. I'm Dan King, the Chelsea correspondent for The Sun. This is Lloyd Canfield, and well, although it feels like a new start after the international break, the main topic is the same one as it's been for quite a bit of the season, and that is Cole Palmer's fitness, or rather lack of it.
Yeah, well, it's a sad sight to see him out for so much longer than expected. I think initially Maresca said he was going to be back November time, but now it looks like...
Initially he said after the international break.
Yeah, well, that's obviously not going to happen, because he's now said he's going to be out until December. There might be an early Christmas present or even late Christmas present for Chelsea fans to have him back at some point in December or even in the new year. But yeah, tell us a bit about what exactly Maresca said about.
Well, he basically admitted I was wrong, which is pretty rare for a manager to admit he was wrong. And we're saying to him, is that definitely it? Do we know this is going to solve it? Does he definitely not need an operation? He's still adamant that he doesn't need an operation, and rest is the best cure. But he also says that the Chelsea medics they're not magicians, and if we say it's going to be another 6 weeks, then we hope that the 6 weeks is right. But what they're not going to do is rush him and risk making it worse. But the number of minutes he's played is so few this season, and he's such a key player for Chelsea that I think they've got to take a big decision sooner rather than later for the sake of their season.
I think it's going to be a big debate whether or not he should have surgery in the next kind of couple of weeks, and Maresca obviously insists that he doesn't need it. Nobody else seems to think he needs it, but with obviously the World Cup on the horizon as well, he hasn't been a part of Thomas Tuchel's England teams because he's been out with this injury.
He's played 65 minutes so far for Thomas Tuchel against Andorra.
Exactly, and there's been a lot of debate over the international break, with Morgan Rogers been playing in that position for England, either whether Jude Bellingham will come back, and you'd imagine Cole Palmer will be competing for that same position with Rogers and Bellingham as well. So it's going to be a big decision for him whether he needs to get that surgery or not.
I'm sure Maresca and most Chelsea fans don't really care about England. It's all about getting their main man back on the pitch. And I think, as it was put to Maresca today as well, they've not just lost Palmer's through balls and passes, they've also lost Colwill from the back, which is basically, even a tactics idiot like me knows that basically, that is if you haven't got the out ball from progressive ball from centre back, and you're struggling for the progressive ball from the middle of the pitch to break down. Let's face it, a lot of teams are going to play a very low block against Chelsea. Then it makes it very, very hard. Yeah,
and I think as well, what we'll come on to is that Maresca's now missing one of his Colwill replacements through injury as well. Obviously, Badiashile and Josh Acheampong both went off in the game against Liverpool. Badiashile coming back from an injury already, he made his return, and now he's going to be missing as well. He's one of those defenders who can play those passes in a similar way to Colwill, probably not to the level of Levi Colwill, but now he'll be missing as well.
And when we asked, generally, obviously the Cole Palmer thing dominates the headlines because of who he is and how important he is. But Maresca was also asking, has this been in any way a positive international break in terms of getting players back? And it's very much a 6 of one, half dozen the other. He's got Tosin back, he's got Fofana back, and Andre Santos back a bit sooner than expected. Yeah. But he also revealed that Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, and Pedro Neto didn't train yesterday, and that if they don't train on Friday, today, the day before the game, they won't be in contention to face Forest. So, God giveth with one hand and taketh away with the other.
Yeah, there's a bit of a concern that, especially with Caicedo, because he's been such a pivotal player, exemplified no better than in that Liverpool game with his screamer into the top corner. But Maresca's said a lot of the season so far that he's been battling some sort of injury, and I would be concerned, especially if he doesn't train today, if he's missing from that Forest game tomorrow, he's going to be a big miss, at least for Chelsea. Like you said, they've got Andre Santos back. Romeo Lavia's being managed in the same way as what Reece James is. He's a player who can fill in that Caicedo position, but the concern is that if Caicedo's missing, if he does pick up an injury or if he's out for an extended period of time, then you're forcing that load onto someone like Romeo Lavia, and then how long is it that he can play those kind of minutes before he's then injured again?
And I think Lavia is really important when you've got both Fernandes and Caicedo
Yeah.
carrying niggles. Well, in fact, Fernandes seemed to be picking up something on international duty and coming back after one game in his knee. Lavia becomes even more important, and actually, what he gives, which I think even Caicedo's biggest fans wouldn't give, is Lavia's passing from deep is really good. If you can get him in the team, it's not he can't replicate exactly what Colwell would do, but he gives Chelsea another dimension because of his his all-round midfield play, but also those passes. I mean, coming on to the Forest game, obviously another reason why Caicedo will be important is up against a player like Elliot Anderson, who's in really good form for Forest and for England. In fact, being linked with Chelsea and Manchester United this week. Well, I just feel like Chelsea have probably got.
Surely they don't need another one.
No, I think they should. If they don't have other priorities, they should. But looking at the Forest team, it was pointed out during the press conference that Forest have conceded more than half their goals after the 70th minute.
Really?
I think, yeah. So the suggestion being that they tire.
Yeah.
And it was the question was framed around use of substitutes. And I think Maresca is. Maresca said before, if I make substitutions and we lose, you say they're bad substitutions, and you say I'm bad at substitution, but when I make substitutions and we win, then suddenly I'm really good. And obviously the Liverpool game was a case in point, but every game at Chelsea is a big game. This feels, especially if they're missing some key players, lunchtime. No one wants to play a lunchtime game after an international break. This is another big challenge for them, despite Forest's poor form.
Yeah, I think since Ange came in, it's definitely made Forest look, especially since last season, they've looked a weaker side. But this feels like a bit of a banana skin for Chelsea. It's that early kick-off, never back the early kick-off. You'd fancy Chelsea to win, but with the players they've got potentially missing, especially if the likes of João Pedro and Caicedo can't play, then you're thinking, who are they going to have up front and who's going to fill in that midfield role? Forest, although they've not been in the best of form, they've still got good quality players, especially like going forward. The threats they've got there, they've got a pretty solid midfield. The defence has been poor this season, but still quality players, as they showed last season. They managed to keep a lot of that defence together. Ola Aina, ex-Chelsea player, will be a big miss for them with him still injured. But they can definitely pose a threat, and I think it could be a bit of a banana skin for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think he was asked, he says, we can't replace Cole like for like. It's one of the best players in the Premier League, and unique in his skill set. And he said, we had Malo Gusto in that position against Liverpool, Buonanotte against Benfica. I mean, let's be clear. Malo Gusto against Liverpool was not playing a Cole Palmer role. He's never scored. I don't think he's scored a goal in his entire career.
Yeah, he always has those pot shots from like well out. Either that or he cuts back when he seems to be through on goal. So,
but in that game, I know Caicedo got the man of the match, but I thought Malo Gusto's performance, and I think the tactical acumen that Maresca showed in that game to really nullify Liverpool's. We know Alexis McAllister is not 100% fit, but Chelsea made McAllister and Gravenberch very, very average, and that's how they were able to dominate so much of the game. So Malo Gusto, he's not going to be playing through balls and doing incredible, scoring incredible goals or pulling off bits of skill, but he can do one thing. But I don't think that's not the kind of skill set. What he had to do against Liverpool is not the kind of thing I think they're going to need to do against Forest. I think maybe we'll see a Buonanotte, maybe we'll see Esteval move in. But it's interesting what you say, the banana skin. I think we discussed earlier this week about the what a change, or one goal or one moment can make, and having gone into the international break on a massive high because of that stoppage time winner against Liverpool, it would be a real shame for Chelsea if that were to be punctured straight away. But on that, because Maresca was sent off, and let's be clear, he could still have come and spoken after the Liverpool game. I think just chose not to. Sent Willy Caballero.
Oh, okay.
But he could still have come in. But it's the first time we had to ask him about that and about the fine. He's been given, but it was very clear. No regrets about that celebration. And for me, why not? Yeah, I think rightly so.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a fan sitting there in the press box as well, it was absolutely brilliant, I think, to see him sprint down touchline and celebrate with the fans. He's been criticised a lot for not having that kind of relationship with the fans. We spoke about it a lot when Jose came back with Benfica, the fact that he had that aura, that relationship with Chelsea fans that Maresca struggled to build so far. But I think it's moments like that that allow him to create a better relationship with fans. And you saw a lot of love online, especially for Maresca after that moment. And yeah, seeing him go down the touchline, I think he shouldn't have even been banned for that. Obviously, rules are rules, we understand that, but I think if you're taking that away from a manager, what do you leave him with?
No, yeah, so he would do it again. He said, it was taken over, and it was the passion of the moment, and that's what football is about. It's one reason. He said it's the first time in his time at Chelsea that Chelsea had won a home game with a stoppage time goal. So it's the first chance he's had to do something like that. Obviously, we know that he did it at Fulham last year, and that's where he got his third yellow card of the season. That's when he got his other touchline ban. But also, very significant because of who the opponents were, albeit a Liverpool team who weren't firing on all cylinders. But I still feel that Chelsea haven't been probably given enough credit for how well they stopped Liverpool playing that day. So those two things combined, the fact that it was, he hadn't had that before at Stamford Bridge, and who the opponents were, and I just think, as a mood changer for the season, it could be key. But by 2:30 on Saturday, the mood could change all over again.
Well, no, yeah. But anyway, let's hope Enzo Maresca, if you're watching this, please give us more moments like that, and you can get as many yellow cards and sending offs as you like. Just give us more last-minute winners, please, on behalf of Chelsea fans.